Some of the biggest misconceptions about retirement is that retirement is not a destination, it's really a new phase of life. Going from making minimum wage and trying to.
And I love what he just mentioned there, right? Um, Retirement is not a destination; it's a phase, a new phase. Um, the reason why I point that out is because I feel like most of us, when we think about retirement, we're thinking about um, when we get old, we're gonna travel, sit somewhere at the beach, and just chill and do nothing but just eat, relax, and just chill. But like you just mentioned, it's a new phase. It's a new chapter, or it should be a new chapter in your life. Um, so I I like the mentality here so far.
Save as much as you can and counting every penny to now being able to spend whatever you want. It's been a journey. I'm Jamal Robinson. I'm an American expat retiree living off of about 185,000 in Dubai.
That's pretty awesome. Can you imagine retiring at 40? At 40, with 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 185K a year. I mean, that's awesome. That's life right there.
I actually decided to retire at 17 years old. I was working at Taco Bell. Believe it or not, at that age, I was able to look around at the job market and I didn't see a lot of people that were happy with work. I learned that it's really important to make sure that you're working and you have your own relationship with work and you're not doing something that you don't want to do. So in my mind, I always thought that it made the most sense to compress that amount of time in my life. And I set the goal to retire early at 45, which I wound up hitting 6 years earlier than expected.
Again, fascinating. The fact that at 17 he was already thinking about retiring or wanting to retire. I mean, at 17, I don't know about you guys, but I didn't even know what I wanted to do in life. But the fact that at 17, my man already had already had in his mind about retiring. That's incredible. And also the fact that he was able to hit his target even earlier than what he planned. It's very inspiring, and I think this is definitely a testimony to all of us, and I think this should encourage us to um, um, to retire early. It's possible. If if he did it, I think we all could do it.
As soon as I retired, I went out and I explored, and so far it's been about 9 countries and 15 cities, and I've been loving it. What I love most about Dubai is it really came.
Also, one thing that I love about this guy is the fact that like you mentioned, as soon as he retired, he traveled, right? Discovered new places, new culture, religion, food, um, all these new things, right? Instead of investing his money into like what materialism, clubbing, um, different women, the latest shoes, the latest tech. No, he's actually using his money wisely and doing the things that he loves and the things that that which makes sense for him.
Leaders to people that have been retired and are looking for a lot of services and activities. I found that most often the things that were promised to me in America actually existed here. So the levels of safety, the levels of like integration of people into society where everyone's accepted. Over the weekend for fun, I find myself going out and just exploring new areas. So I may go out to the creek.
And this is also one thing. It's also one thing I tell to Americans, um, right? The whole world is not just America. There are way more things out there than than you don't have in America. And and honestly, I think that everybody in America should travel, should go overseas, should go somewhere else and just discover. Um, it would definitely change your mind. Um, I personally, obviously, I wasn't born in America. I came here super young. I'm originally from the West Africa. So, and also I grew up here. You know, I had the opportunity to travel, been to almost 20 countries now, and honestly, it definitely opened my mind. It showed me a lot of things that America doesn't have, and also a lot of lies that people think about other countries when it comes to, like, the Middle East, Africa, Asia. You'd be surprised. Some of those countries are actually, the quality of life is way better than what we have here in the U.S. Also, like you just mentioned, security, the economy, um, also racism. All these things are um, all better in other countries.
Creek and just walk around and look at the boats and meet people as I walk. Two people surprised. Dubai is actually much cheaper for me than living in most of the major American cities I've been in. Dubai allows you to live the kind of lifestyle that you want to live, and it allows for a lot of different price ranges.
This is also something else that a lot of people don't know. It's a it's a lot cheaper to live in other countries than here in the United States. Obviously, if you do have the money to support that, or if you do implement some sort of business, or some sort of investment that can give you a cash flow, right? U.S. dollars that you can use in these other countries, because your dollar is gonna work way greater than that local currency, whatever country you're in, whether it's Dubai, or you're in Thailand. If you have the dollar, you're definitely winning, and the quality of life that you could have is just out of this world.
Every month, I pay myself about 15,400 for the month, and of that 15,400, I wind up spending about $9,000. Food, I definitely don't go cheap on. I typically allocate about $2,000 per month. I go out and eat a lot of times when I have friends or people that I can entertain. And then as far as home, I also cook quite a lot. December was a unique month for me because I'm on a kind of expat private insurance. I have to pay about $1,600 out of pocket for some medication. My doctor's visits were anywhere from $200 to $300 a piece, so it totaled up to be a lot higher. When it comes to getting around for transit in Dubai, I'm a little bit sad about this since I don't have a car. I use a service here where I get access to a driver, and the driver drives me all around the city. So I pay my $400 to $600 a month and use that for transportation.
406. Did he say $460 for transportation? I mean, that's not bad. I mean, $460 a month. He has a he has a car, and 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 a personal chauffeur driver. I mean, that's not bad. Um, I mean, that's still. I mean, he's definitely saving a lot of money, because I don't even think you it will be enough, right? In, let's say, somewhere in New York, or Miami, or Washington D.C., you're definitely gonna be spending way more than $460, and there's no way you could find a personal driver for $460. No, we're talking about thousands of dollars. That's really cheap. Good for him.
The place that I'm currently living in is two bedrooms, and
That's
it's
nice.
roughly about 900 square feet. It's right off the beach and in a premium area for Dubai.
That is
And this
beautiful.
place
Wow,
costs about 5,000 per month.
5,000. I mean, he got the money.
How
He
I
got the
live
money.
now is I'm actually spending a lot more than I typically would. My relationship growing up with money was definitely one of discipline. Without really consciously thinking through it, I chose to save a lot. Now, as I've been able to reflect a lot as an adult, also see where I have a scarcity mindset.
And this is why saving is important, folks. Saving is so important. And I feel like here, we as Americans, it's almost as if we are built just to be consumers. Just, we love to consume, and I feel like saving is really not encouraged. For example, like, take the iPhone. I mean, there's a new phone that comes out every year. There's always a new show. There's always the new this, the new that. So it's almost, we've been programmed. We definitely been programmed to be consumers, to be consumers. But if you are able to save, and also not just save and also invest your money, because I'm pretty sure he invests his money in some sort of investment, whether it's a 401k or the Roth IRA. I'm sure he invested his money. But if you're able to save your money, invest your money, there's so much things that you can accomplish. Right? It's a sacrifice, um, but those sacrifices are worth it. Just like this guy, perhaps let's say you end up saving your money, you end up investing your money. You could retire early and be like this guy, go somewhere else, and with your U.S. dollars and live a king life, a queen life, a comfortable life. So these things are all possible, but it's gonna be up to you to put in the work, to sacrifice, to sacrifice certain things, and to save your money. When your buddies or your friends are going to the club on the weekends, popping champagnes, popping all those bottles, right? Are you going to decide to stay home and save your money instead of spending thousands of dollars, weekly or monthly, in clubs, right? When your friends are going out to eat all the time, are you going to stay home and cook, right? When your friends are going on trips, um, all over, all over the world, are you gonna stay? Are you not gonna travel and save your money? And mind you, most people use credit card to make this purchase, and they end up having credit card debt. So it's not like it's pure cash.
And maybe not a healthy relationship with money in the sense of I wanted to hoard it. Luckily, I've been able to graduate to a place where I'm much more comfortable. I've been opening up the checkbook and spending more. Growing up, I didn't get much knowledge on money and investments and things that I'm focused on now. I think my parents coming from lower middle class homes who are more so focused on survival, as many people might be.
And it's interesting, listening to him so far. You would think that um, his parents gave him the knowledge that he has now. But just like he just said, no, he didn't. He grew up in a family. Financial education was not taught. Um, came from a came from a poor family. I think most of us, looking at him, looking at the amount of money that he has, or the kind of lifestyle that he has, I think most of us would think that, oh, he comes from a really rich family, or he comes from a family where financial education was passed down. No, this dude came from scratch, from nothing, and the fact that he was able to save the money that he saved and have the lifestyle that he's having now, I mean, that should encourage all of us.
My parents had worked pretty hard in their life, and I just saw the wear and tear that that took on them. So
Mm,
I wanted to be careful to not be in a similar situation and have to work and just give all of my life source and energy to a job for the remainder of my life. And I didn't know how I was going to do it, but those factors really contributed to me wanting to retire at an early age.
good for you. And also look at his degrees. He graduated with a bachelor's in computer science, with a minor in mathematics. And also that's something that you have to realize. Um, there's certain jobs that would not get you at certain places that you want. For example, let's say like him, you want to retire that before 49. I mean before 40, right? You want to be able to have, let's say, a couple millions or a couple $1,000s in your account. There's certain jobs that would not get you there, right? That's why I believe that when you invest into education, you have to make sure you look at the economy. What jobs are demanded? What jobs is going to pay you well? And what kind of jobs is going to give you the opportunity to actually save and invest your money so that you can retire early. And obviously tech is definitely one of those fields, especially with AI that's booming right now. Obviously, you also have your health system. You have the healthcare, um, and you have other fields. You have other fields that's also really demanding. So again, you have to make you have to do your homework. There's no way on earth you could be working at McDonald's, or you could be working in the library, and be able to make this kind of money, and planning on retiring early. It's going to take you a lot. It's going to take you it's going to take you a long time to be able to reach that. So be mindful of the field that you go into.
Climbing up the corporate ladder was not easy, but I definitely aggressively climbed up the corporate ladder. I moved to Austin, Texas, worked at this amazing startup called Chimps, and made a lot of great connections there. And that accelerated me into tech, which later led to IBM, Amazon, Intel, Microsoft, and a few others. So I always kept my eyes open for new opportunities. Also made sure that I was as valuable as possible. And I would say my salary went from about 40,000 to about 60,000 to about 64,000, and then that's when I had one of my bigger jumps.
Looking for sustainable growth? Expect it and so much more in Ohio. Jobs Ohio exists to help companies and their people thrive. Make Ohio your competitive advantage. Ready to grow? Let's grow together.
I mean, look at that. So he went from 40K to 727K. I mean, that's incredible. Um, and that just shows you that he was not comfortable. He never got comfortable. He started somewhere, kept grinding, um, kept putting in the work, and kept aiming higher. And he was able to almost hit $1 million a year. And obviously, with this kind of money, you could definitely retire early. And again, it's all about the field that you choose to go in, and you have to be wise, and um, and you have to be wise and clever about it. You have to look at the economy and seize what's demanding out there.
And then after that, I went to north of 1 million.
Awesome. Hey, there you go. AI. I mean, the fact that he was able to save 90% of his salary. I mean, that should trigger you. That should push you. Um, I mean, I'm not saving 90% of my salary. I mean, I think I might be around 65 to 70%. My goal is to eventually push it to 80%, if possible. But again, if he's able to do it, we can all do it. It's all about putting in the work, the discipline, and then willing to sacrifice a lot of things, right? And especially when you have a goal like he does, retiring that early, um, you have to put in the work. You have to, there's a lot of sacrifices that has to come in, and this shows all of us that it's possible. I mean, that's amazing. 90%. My goodness.
So when I got the big jump, at most I may go out and get a meal. A lot of times I didn't even do that. I always remind people that
See,
in
no
my head I'm
meals.
still the guy that's making a minimum wage working at Taco Bell. So when people see these large salaries or ask me, hey, how did it feel to make over a million a year? I often tell them, I don't know, it felt like making not quite minimum wage, but also not like making a million a year.
And that's the funny thing about money. The more money you make, obviously, the more you want to get. It's like an endless, it's like an endless cycle, right? You can never be satisfied enough with the amount of money that you make. That's why you must have a goal. You must have an exit strategy, and you must tell yourself, okay, once I hit this amount of money, I'm good. Let me focus on something else. Let me retire. You know, um, and I love his mindset. Money wasn't really. He made money. He made almost $1 million. For him, it was just like making money. And he was comfortable with that. He wasn't stressed, or he wasn't trying to. I mean, he pretty much had a goal, and he knew what he wanted to do, and for him to accomplish that early, that's I mean, that's amazing.
I would make a million a year, and I would struggle to spend over $50 on an item.
Oh wow.
There definitely was a certain amount of money that I wanted to hit when I retired. Over the years, that has changed. It started off in the low 1.5 million, then it got up to 5 million, then 20 million. And at some point, I realized that with what I need in life, I settled on my number, which is around 4 million.
And that's exactly what I was mentioning. You have to be able to settle and be comfortable with that because, or you're gonna fall. You're gonna fall in that rabbit hole, which is this endless cycle, right? You could never money could never satisfy you. If you fall in that loophole, you're gonna end up. First of all, you're not gonna have peace, and then you're gonna end up just running into circles and potentially never even accomplishing um, the goals that you set out for. So having a goal and being content with that is very important.
Some of the biggest misconceptions about retirement, or at the very least, things that people need to know, is that retirement is not a destination. It's really a new phase of
A
life.
new
I
phase.
want
I
to
love that.
maximize my life
I love that.
experiences and not keep saving money for the future. Part of
Mm.
retiring was so I could explore my hobbies more. And the hobbies that I have are typically in the space of creativity. I DJ in my spare time. I've always had a love for music. So as I've gotten older,
And that's the beautiful thing about retiring early. Um, there are other things that you could do that you love. Let's say you have a certain hobby. Let's say you love playing soccer, or you love being a DJ, or you love making YouTube videos, right? Retiring early can give you, being able to retire early can give you that opportunity to do those things and stress free because you're just doing a hobby. You don't have to worry about, oh, am I gonna make money? Are people gonna like me or not? No, you're just doing it just because you could just do it, right? And having that peace of mind is so important.
older and got more aware of technologies that exist, I've gotten more into producing music and just playing around with sounds. When it comes to choosing where I live, I have a matrix of about 14 things that qualify as safety, the amount of singles that they have as I'm still single, the population, how diverse it is, the government, how stable it is, the currency, and a few other things. And Dubai hit pretty high on that list. What I love the most about Dubai is the cultural diversity. There's people from literally all over the world. So immediately I was able to come and feel at home. On top of that, it's very centrally located, so I can travel to the US or travel to the East and check out various like Southeast Asian countries along with Australia. And then at the same time, there's just a lot to do here. As an American expat that's also black, I would say my experience has been very different than what I'm used to. In America, you're typically identified as a black person first, and then after that, you're an engineer or a janitor or whatever they want to label you as. And I would say that as I've traveled around the world, as soon as I open my mouth and people hear the accent, I typically get categorized with the rest of Americans. So quite often I don't feel my blackness. It's almost like you're celebrated and people will come up to you and they want to talk and engage with you. So I found that it's been maybe for the first time in my life, privileged to be a black person, and it's been really beneficial. Overall, I find that I'm more happy and more at peace, and it's just much better here than where I was living before.
Mind you, this he's in the Middle East, right? And I feel like the Middle East in the media has a bad look. The fact that him as an African American, he feels comfortable, he feels appreciated in a different country. I think that speaks volume, right? And this is why traveling is important because if you don't travel, you won't know these things, right? You would think that the outside is bad. Everybody from the outside is racist, would treat you badly. But in this case, we see that that's not true.
I do plan to travel in the very near future. I'm going back to Amsterdam. I'm also going to Bangkok, Thailand. I was thinking about checking out South Africa, and for various reasons, I'm going to head back to the US for a little while. And as far as what's actually next, I would say I try not to think in the typical term of what's next. As long as I can retain those emotional states and make sure that I'm also doing so while adding value to the world, I'm okay with it.
And I love that. I love that him retiring is not just chilling, eating, you know, sitting somewhere. He still wants to add value he still wants to add value in society wherever he found himself at. He wants to add value. He wants to be he wants to be able to contribute to to the world, and I think that's a great mindset to have, because again, I feel like most of us, when we think of retirement, we just think about traveling, eating, chilling somewhere at an old age, right? He's 40 and he was able to retire early. I mean, man, good for him. All right, that's it. And again, so it's possible. Make sure, especially if you're young, if you're in high school, make sure whatever field you want to go into, right? Make sure that the demand is high, right? Make sure that, especially if you want to have um, a good quality of life, you want to retire early. There's just certain jobs you cannot do, and you have to look at the economy. You have to look at what's demanding, right? You have to look at the salary, right? So these all of this really matters. And he's not old. He can still, obviously seems like he's not married, no kids, right? He can still find a wife, and start a family, right? And the fact that he was able to save 90% of his salary, I mean, that encourages me, right, to go up to 80, which is my goal. My goal is 80. 90, I don't know. We'll see, but that's awesome. I'm happy for him.